Hi everyone and welcome back to the Portrait Guru. In today's video, I'm painting Roger Federer in gouache, from the first pencil sketch right through to the finished portrait. You'll see my full time-lapse process, techniques you can use yourself, and I'll also share 5 tips that'll help you get better results with your own portrait paintings, gouache paintings, and your art. Let's jump straight into it. I always begin with a grid. It keeps everything proportional, especially for portraits like this. It also really helps with portrait accuracy. Here I'm loosely marking out the main features, keeping the pencil pressure light as possible. And here's my first tip. Take your time on the drawing process before painting. A strong painting starts with accurate structure and proportions. It doesn't matter how good your colours are if your foundations are off. Once the sketch feels solid, I lay in a warm reddish pink wash. It immediately unifies the surface and gives a natural warmth to the skin layer. You'll notice I roughly map shadows, so under the chin, around the eyes, nothing too defined yet though. And here's my second tip. Think in values, not in colours. Focus on your darks, your mid-tones, and your lights first. The realism comes from contrast, not from the exact hue. If this video of my process and extra tips is interesting so far, give this video a quick like, smash that subscribe button to the Portrait Guru for even more content in the future, and comment me below. It helps the channel grow. Now, I start blocking the big shapes, the dark hair, the mid-tones in the skin, those first strong shadow planes. At this stage, I'm not blending at all. I'm just trying to create confident, bold shapes. I paint with as big a brush as possible for any given area. This is important as we don't want messy paint marks on the canvas. So make sure you keep your paint creamy, not watery. So gouache works best when it's opaque, but it also still moves easily. If it's too thin, it just loses that punch. I always opt for loading the brush with more paint than I actually need. That way I can get some really lovely flowing marks, and I really encourage you to do the same. Now I start layering mid and lighter tones to build the form. Federer's face has some really interesting planes, the cheekbone, the jaw, the nose bridge, so it's a great subject for studying structure. My fourth tip is to work dark to light and just be patient. Gouache lets you layer light over dark beautifully if you wait just a bit between the passes. I'm mixing colours slightly lighter than I need because gouache always dries a little bit darker. And by the way, if you'd like a deeper dive into this exact painting, where I go into my brushes, paints, and the paper setup, check out the video in the top right. Once the main skin tones are in, I turn to the background, a warm reddish brown that complements the skin and white headband. I'm using a limited colour palette here. A background can completely change a portrait's mood. Here it helps push the highlights forward and gives the contrast to the cooler skin tones. I like to use darker backgrounds in portraits. It's something I've taken a lot of inspiration from painters like Caravaggio. That strong use of light against shadow to really make the subject pop. When you place a light tone next to a dark one, the portrait immediately gains more drama and focus. It pulls your eyes straight to the face and gives the illusion of depth, even if it's actually on a flat surface. It also helps unify the palette. That warm, earthly tone complements the fresh colours and stops the white from feeling too harsh. Now I move on to the finer work, tightening the edges, refining the eyes and lips, and adding darker definition around the face. So my last tip is to step back often and take breaks. When you stare too close for too long, you just lose perspective. Step away for a moment and you'll instantly spot what's off. At this point, I'm using a white pencil and a black pencil to add accents and subtle outlines. It gives the piece a slightly graphic look that I really like. Now it's all about the final touches and balancing, refining the tones, cleaning the edges and making the lightness feel right. I try not to overwork it here. A few brush strokes usually looks better than endless blending. Once I'm happy, I sign it, and that's my finished Roger Federer Gouache canvas painting. If you picked up a few ideas today, or if it's inspired you to try gouache yourself, drop me a comment below. I'll love to hear about your results. Thanks for watching, and I recommend you checking out this video coming up.